We begin tonight with a tragedy in Trenton.
2 Gilchrist County Sheriff's deputies were shot and killed at a restaurant in Trenton this afternoon. TV20's Brianna Villegas is in Trenton with the latest on the investigation.
Definitely a very, very tragic situation here. We have 2 deputies confirmed dead, and we have actually a closer look at the scene right now. We're in front of Ace China, which is a restaurant on State Road 26. The suspect is dead, so there is no threat to the community.
At 3 o'clock this afternoon, a man shot 2 Gilchrist County deputies who were inside of a Trenton restaurant.
Investigators later found the gunman dead. We've had team coverage all evening of the tragedy. TV20's Brianna Villegas joins us live from Trenton with the latest on the investigation. Brianna.
It's definitely a sad, sad situation for this small town, and investigators are still inside taking photos of the crime scene.
We have an important update on the top story that we've been telling you about all night long. Police are now telling us that the killer tonight of 2 Gilchrist County Sheriff's deputies is 59-year-old John Hubert Hino of Bell.
His body was found outside one of the businesses nearby. He had died of a gunshot wound, and of course FDLE will continue their investigation. The Gilchrist County community is now trying to stay strong after the news of 2 Gilchrist County deputies ambushed and killed while eating lunch yesterday afternoon.
TV20's Crystal Bailey shows us how just one day after the tragedy in Trenton, people in North Central Florida have already started coming together.
Gilchrist County is resilient. Understand that the focus right now is on the Gilchrist County Sheriff's Office family and their fallen heroes.
Even in the tragedy, there's no doubt the community is coming together. After the shooting deaths of 25-year-old Deputy Taylor Lindsay and 30-year-old Sergeant Noel Ramirez.
It's tragic that it happened when, they were just trying to enjoy a casual meal,
Trenton Mayor Lee Dean saying the community will bounce back.
As we have in the past, when faced with adversity and tragedy, the people of this community band together to press forward.
Since early this morning, we've been seeing more and more people come by and leave flags and flowers at the scene as the city mourns in unity.
The city of Newberry will hold a candlelight vigil to show their support of the Gilchrist County community tonight.
And the Florida Crisis Response Team also will be there to give anyone emotional or psychological comfort. TV20's Sarah Gerard joins us in the studio to tell us how counseling like this can help the community heal.
Paige, Dave, the most important thing to remember is that it will take time. One counseling expert told me for a small community to recover from a tragedy like this, it takes a lot of support.
In a split second, 2 deputies' lives were taken.
Initially, there's so much shock that it's even hard to digest.
In the next 24 hours, the community left with many questions.
Why somebody comes and kills that kind of police department? I couldn't understand.
Now, crisis counselors at the University of Florida say only time can heal Gilchrist County.
The first kind of week to 6 weeks, the full extent of the tragedy often hasn't sunk in because people are really pulling together at that time.
The whole region has come together, schools and cities in and around the county organizing to wear blue in honor of the fallen deputies. Once the days and weeks start to pass, we wanted to know, what will it take for the community to recover?
What they need today may be something very different than they need tomorrow.
Only 4 years ago, this small county was rocked by another major tragedy when a man killed his daughter and 6 grandchildren in the nearby town of Bell before killing himself. Counselors say when a community has experienced previous tragedies, it can make a new one feel even worse.
The 2 fallen deputies from Gilchrist County are being honored across county lines this evening.
2 lives gone too soon.
TV20's Brianna Villegas joins us live again in Newberry to show us how the deputies were brought back home.
Residents in North Central Florida have been wearing blue all day to honor the lives lost. Today proved that Trenton isn't the only place mourning the loss of the 2 deputies. Newberry residents lined the streets as the procession for the fallen deputies passed through.
Well, it's been a really tough couple of days for Gilchrist County, and for many sports, the furthest thing from their minds. And we here at TV20, we understand that. But we also feel that in some small way, maybe sports can help us heal. If nothing else, these games can at least distract us for a few hours and bring communities together. The towns of Trenton and Bell probably could use a break, and over at Bell High, they had one Friday night as their beloved Bulldogs were taking on none other than the Tigers of Trenton.
Family said goodbye to two fallen Gilchrist County Sheriff's deputies today.
And the two heroes have been taken to their final resting place in Bronson Cemetery. TV20's Brianna Villegas joins us live from the cemetery to show us how the two officers are being remembered.
Paige, Dave, it is hard to say goodbye, especially in a tragedy like this one. Today, the community is remembering these two fallen heroes for their bravery. Deputy Taylor Lindsay was a kind soul. Friends describe him as brave and sweet. Earlier, I talked with Sergeant Ramirez's neighbor. He says the family is devastated, but has no doubt they'll continue to spread their love.
They are more than just victims. Friends and loved ones are telling us more tonight about the lives of Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay.
TV20's Brianna Villegas joins us live in the studio tonight to tell us how the fallen heroes will be remembered.
Today, I had a chance to talk to the friends of the two Gilchrist County deputies. There was a lot of laughter in the room as they shared memories, tears as the heartache of the tragedy came back to strike them in their hearts. Sergeant Ramirez's widow, Gigi, told me he is still the love of her life.
It's so cliche to say love at first sight, but it really was like that.
Sergeant Noel Ramirez was a family man.
He always wanted to play with the kids. He was just... yeah, and I'm like, oh, well, it's time for them to go to sleep now. And he's like, just let them stay up. Just let them stay up.
And the biggest goofball.
I have so many stories I can tell about him. And he's like, bro, 268 gonna make sheriff look good. Because that's how he referred to himself. I was 267 and he was 268 if you ask him. That was his ID number.
Well, it's funny because my first impression of him was very shy.
But that quickly changed as he and Gigi got to know each other better at the gym. Sergeant Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay were inseparable workout partners.
Taylor's a very, in the gym, you have a job to do, you're working out, you get your workout done, that's what you do. Noel's quite the opposite.
Deputy Lindsay, a dedicated worker.
When we would come to the office, he would want to go grab warrants or see what new warrants would come out, and we would go out and hit the streets.
It didn't matter where he went. He always went either by Deputy Flex or Taylor. He was never officer, never deputy, never commanded authority from people. They just respected him because of his ability to talk.
The home of the 59-year-old man who shot and killed Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay and then himself burned down overnight.
TV20's Landon Harra gathered reactions of the news from both Bell and Trenton residents. Landon, what can you tell us about the investigation and what people think about the fire?
Dave and Paige, the latest news from Gilchrist County Emergency Management is they haven't ruled out the possibility of arson because of who owned that home, but they have yet to determine a cause. Still, many people around town believe it wasn't an accident. The house went up in flames.
No, it had to have been on purpose. It had to have been.
That was the thought of almost everybody I spoke with, and many said, good riddance.
If you're gonna go and have a home and do like you did, then it should be burnt. I mean, granted, personally, I didn't know the man. I don't know why he did what he did. But I would actually sit there and agree with them.
I started my day in Bell, and then I moved to Trenton as I was talking with residents about their opinions on the man who committed this crime's house burning down. Well, almost everybody I spoke with said that they did not want to go on camera, but almost all of them also mentioned that they were happy it burned down or that they simply just did not care. And the one thing that they were hoping is that this would be the last they would hear of it, because they just simply want his memory to fade and disappear. It was a somber but happy occasion here at Chiefland Elementary School as one special little boy got a police escort for his first day of school. Noel Ramirez Jr. is the son of Noel Ramirez, who was killed earlier this year while on duty. Both Gilchrist and Levy County sheriffs want both Noel Jr. and his mother to know they're all family now.
There is no reason whatsoever that anybody could offer as an explanation of why Noel wasn't here today. A coward took his life. So these men and women in green or in blue, little Noel is part of our family now.
Joshua Taylor of Newberry tells me the idea for the song came when he was traveling and received endless calls and messages about the shooting in Gilchrist County. He says he remembers praying with his wife, hoping that it wasn't true. And then she turned to him saying, we need to write a song and it needs to be called Hometown Strong. With a little bit of acoustic.
Whoa,
and a whole lot of song. Newberry native Joshua Taylor wants his community to remember.
The song was for those two guys over in Gilchrist County, and when we wrote that, it was just one of those things that we wrote from our hearts. When the rumor came through, I prayed it wasn't true.
The deaths of Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay.
When someone hurts, we all hurt.
Hitting home for Taylor, a retired law enforcement officer himself.
And it was more so than a tragedy that happened to law enforcement, but a tragedy that happened to the whole community because we all hurt.
His song, Hometown Strong, is a reminder.
But everybody has a hometown, and I think if we all realize that we all come from somewhere, and we all can pull together as a team and get things done, and I think that'll help with the healing.
I mean, when I hear that song of it's a sad situation, people making the best out of a very horrible situation, and it reminds me of Gilchrist County. We've been through a whole lot before the shootings and after, but it's hometown strong. I mean, it really is. It resonates with me.
This song, hats off to all law enforcement who say goodbye to their families before heading into work.
I need you. Go home soon.
We're fathers, we're husbands, we're wives, we're people just like you, just wearing a uniform.
Taylor remembers putting on that badge and still understands why a hero remembered never truly dies.
We as a community love you, we appreciate what you've done for us, and we're behind you. And I think that's, I think that what drives the Hometown Strong home.
Florida Highway Patrol Captain Charlie Kalk has built light displays for holiday boat festivals for the past 4 years. Last year's display, a salute to Vietnam veterans. This year, a tribute to Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay. It took more than 200 hours.
Started building it one piece at a time, and it just all come together.
For Charlie Kalk of High Springs to build this light-up helicopter.
One bulb at a time.
Saluting Gilchrist County's fallen heroes.
The holidays are here. Those families are going to sit down, and that seat's going to be empty.
Thousands of lights sending a special message.
The phrase that pulls this county together when things are...
To the families of Sergeant Noel Ramirez and Deputy Taylor Lindsay.
We need, as a community, to let them know that we still care about them, we think about them, and we miss their loved ones as much as they do.
Their call numbers on the side of the helicopter.
Papa 268, Papa 293.
Reminding the community to always be hometown strong.
We really are fortunate to live in this county. The people are just that, they're strong.
And as Kalk turns off the chopper's lights for the night, he tells me the one thing he'd like to see this holiday season.
10,000 Christmas cards at the sheriff's office, and Bobby Schultz could deliver them to those families. Would that not be a wonderful, wonderful tribute to them?
TV20 is the first to obtain the final FDLE report on the Gilchrist County shooting that left 2 deputies dead in April. The FDLE report paints a picture of an angry man who hated law enforcement. John Hinote's writings, which were found at his home and in his Jeep, amount to racist ramblings and threats to law enforcement officers. The report shows he called cops leeches and pigs, saying they're all evil, stupid, and lazy. The FDLE report concluded that Hinote did not know or have previous run-ins with the deputy Taylor Lindsay and Noel Ramirez before killing them as they ate at the restaurant in Trenton. The report also notes that Hinote was spotted drinking beer in his Jeep outside Coleman Construction in Newberry earlier that same day. He had been fired from the construction company 2.5 years ago. Coleman cited anger issues as a reason for letting him go. The medical examiner's report notes that Hinote did have alcohol in his system when he died, and a retracing of his route shows Hinote likely sideswiped a power pole on US 27 on his way to Trenton. One last note on the FDLE report. The shooter did have the front desk number for TV20 programmed as a contact in his phone, but the assigned name did not correspond with anyone who's ever worked at the station, and we still don't know of any instances of Hinote actually calling WCJB.